Okay. Welcome to Reset to Healthier Relationships, open discussion Sunday night at 9. I am your course creator, Coach Glenda, here with course manager Rufus Carpenter. Rufus and I have created this format as a safe place to discuss trials, struggles, and victories in past, present relationships. This is a non-judgmental zone, and we encourage everyone on the call to participate and speak their truth. So before we kick off with tonight's discussion topic, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I was in a 8-year marriage that did not serve me well, where I was mentally, physically, and sexually abused, but God had a better plan for me. After over 10 years of struggling as a divorcee and a single mom of 2, I was able to get my life back on track. I moved from Virginia to Georgia, where I had no family and little to no friends, and started a brand new life. I want you to unbuckle your seatbelt, let your hair down, and talk as much or as little as you would like. So I want to say thank you for everyone that decided to participate tonight. I know that 9 o'clock on Sunday nights is a huge sacrifice, but I really appreciate your attendance. Now, tonight's topic is your attachment style and how it shapes your approach to relationships. So we are going to go over 3 segments. So the first segment is understanding attachment styles. The second segment is impact on relationships. And the third segment is attachment style in Black women's relationships. So before we dive a little deeper into these segments, I want to hand it off to Rufus Carpenter so he can introduce himself, as well as behind that, he's going to dive deeper into the segments so we can kick off tonight's discussion.
Good evening and welcome to Sunday Nights at 9. I'm your co-host, Rufus Carpenter. And like she said, let me tell you who I am a little bit. My entry into this space is a little different than most. I started by being a child of a 14 children family in a house that we barely had enough things to make ends meet at times. And while we were there, we had a 3-bedroom house, 1 bathroom. So if you know anything about sleeping with your siblings, and then if you have one occasional that's a bedwetter, you can understand that you actually learn in essence about human connection. Fast forward, I was married for 27 years. And to be married for 27 years, you have to learn a thing about commitment, communication, forgiveness, and compromise. And these things are great for having a great relationship and a great marriage, but these are the things that give you a deeper understanding in the human relationship. My venture didn't stop there. I enlisted the United States Army, and I was trained as an equal opportunity human relation, race relation, NCO, and leader, which means I had a responsibility of being the first person to do the intakes for any relationship issues we had within our Army units. And if you know anything about being in the military, that's a heck of an environment to deal with relationship type issues. So I have a thorough background. I feel I'm more than qualified to bring the male perspective to this thing tonight, because very rarely on the internet do you have a chance, the guys and the ladies have a chance to come together and ask each other questions and talk about subjects of relationship and in a peaceful, safe environment. The format is really easy in the fact that it lets you actually enjoy the conversation, and it's set up like 20 of your girlfriends and you are in your living room, and what you guys are doing are taking turns like just telling your truth. And sometimes just to hear yourself say the things that you went through is very therapeutic. So we want you to enjoy tonight. Now, once again, welcome everybody for coming. We're glad you're here. Tonight's going to be an exciting night. And if you were here last week, you got to talk about the 5 love languages. So the second part of that is your attachment styles. If you ever wonder why you love a certain way and why people love you a certain way, tonight we're going to show you why. And believe it or not, A lot of it came from your childhood, and we'll get further as we go further into it. Now, first thing, introducing the relationship styles. What are the relationship styles? It's four of them. It's four. And let me tell them to you right quick before we come out the gate. The very first one is secure attachment. It's secure attachment. And we'll break it down. The second one is anxious. You're anxious. That's anxious attachment. The next one is avoidance attachment. And the final fourth is fearful avoidance. Now, I know it seems like I'm just saying a bunch of words. What did that really mean? I'm glad you asked. You can tell I'm having fun already because I know it's in store for us. All right, now, the attachments, that's how you love. Have you ever wondered why when you with someone, if for instance, if you and your boo or you and somebody, y'all walking down the street and you and her or you and him holding hands and you're very comfortable with that, you're whistling, you're talking about things, you're back and forth, everybody has a turn in that conversation and you're just having a great time. Everybody can't do that. And if you can do that, that's considered secure. That's secure attachment. That you and your boo, you guys are open, you're honest, you loving each other, you can say what you want to say, you handle problems together, and you guys are a happy union. There are styles that you can't do that. For instance, the anxious style is a style that when you with someone, you're always wondering, do this person really love me? Can I trust what they're saying? I need to be with them and see what they're doing because when they're out of my sight, I don't know what's going on with them. I'm not comfortable. That's anxious. That's anxious style. Now, avoidance. Avoidance style. I'm going through the styles real quick, but we're going to go through them one at a time, but I'm just getting you started so you know what they are because I don't want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you don't know. I'm going to give you all four of them, and then we're going to break them down.
Okay.
The next one is avoidance. Avoidance is when you've been independent and you don't really want to let somebody in, but you don't want to let them get too close to you. Because you value your independence more than you value being vulnerable. You don't want to be vulnerable because you don't want the person to feel like they got you. No, you stay over there, buddy. We cool. A little bit of time. We're taking this slow. We're slow walking it. That's avoidance. That's avoidance. You can love from a distance. Okay, you good, we good, we good. I love you, but I ain't got to be all up under you. You ain't got to be all up under me. We straight. That's avoidance. And look at Glenda laughing. That's her. She know that's her. We just hit her. The next one is fearful avoidance. Now that's a kicker. That one's where you want both. You want to be close and you want to be far. You don't know which one you want. You want sometimes you're comfortable being on top of you, and sometimes you want them to be as far as they can away from you. It's like a tug of war. You want to be close, but when they're close, they smother you. That's a battle. Now, as we go through this tonight, I want you to look at your style of attachment. What style do you have? How do you want to be? How do you love? And what's your blueprint? What's your blueprint for loving? And we're going to talk about it. And as we talk about it, I want you to talk about it because as I gave you the brief summary of what they are, begin to look at yourself. And which one are you? Now, normally they say you have a main or dominant style, and then you have a secondary style. But normally they categorize you in two styles. They say you have your dominant style, which is who you are the majority of the time, and then other ones who you could be at times. You're never all four.
Okay.
But normally you're two. You're one that's probably who you are. If you had to put a label on, that's who you are. The second one is who you are sometimes. And I know my two. I am two. It's true for me. It's very true for me.
Okay.
Okay. And let me talk about me first, because I talk about me first, and then we'll let people talk.
Okay.
Well, I tell you what, let's do this. Let's go through them in detail, so that way all y'all, everybody that don't quite know, do you know what category you fit in? We're gonna go them in detail, then we're gonna stop, and then we're gonna have each other, we're gonna talk about what style you feel you are, and then we're gonna talk about what style you much rather have as your mate. Fair enough? Is that fair enough, everybody? Let's do it that
Yes.
way.
Yes.
That's okay. Now, let me make sure I got all the stuff I'm supposed to say out the way first. The first I'm supposed to tell you about the styles and got all that. So we got all that. Now, your attachment styles are formed basically in childhood. Believe it or not, the way you love today happened as a child. It's what you saw with your parents, what you saw at church, what you saw at school, what you saw with your friends, what you saw whether you was in a gang or not a gang. All these things are how you came about your style, about your attachment style. And you might not believe it right now, but once we go through this, you'll see it. You'll see it, and you can go back to actually pinpoint how it happened. Okay? Now, any questions before I go any further?
Yes.
Go ahead.
You said that the attachment styles came from childhood?
They were formed in childhood.
Really?
Majority of them was formed in your childhood, yes. And as we go through them, you'll see what I'm talking about. As we go through them, you begin to see it.
I thought mine came
And we'll
about
circle back to that question. When we get to the question and answer period, we'll circle back to that, okay? Fair enough?
Okay.
Don't let me forget. If I don't let me forget. All right? Now let's talk about it. Now, when you go through let's unravel the mystery of our styles. Let's talk about them. What's the blueprint? How do you connect with your relationships? How do you love somebody? How do you let them in, or how do you not let them in, or how do you keep them at a distance? Or how you ghost on them, or why you ghost on them. That's what we're gonna talk about right now. Because women always ask me, Rufus, why you ghost? It's my attachment style. Hey, I learned it. Hey, it ain't me. It's the style. Okay, the first one is secure. Okay, secure is when you don't have any problems expressing your emotions. You can tell your boo or your family exactly how you feel, and you don't have any problem with sharing your feelings. As a matter of fact, you want to let them know how you feel. Once again, it's a solid foundation of trust and support. I trust you, I support you, you trust me, you support me, and you're able to give freely. And this is considered a healthy lifestyle. This is considered a healthy relationship. Me and my boo, we can walk down the street holding hands and kissing in public. And I don't feel bad, she don't feel bad. Because we love each other, we support each other, we know each other, we're comfortable showing that affection. We're secure in our relationship. We know who we are. And especially we know who we are to each other. Now, when conflicts arise as a secure attachment style, when they arise, we work them out together. We talk about it openly and honestly. We don't hide nothing under the cover. If I went and gambled and blew $500 last night, I'm not gonna hide it. I'm gonna say, hey baby, look, last night, me and the boys, I messed up. I dropped five big ones. And hey, and let's talk about it, baby. Don't give me no lunch money for the next 2 weeks. That's how you deal with it. That's secure style. Any questions about the secure style before I go into the next one?
No.
No questions about that? In the audience, questions? Okay. The next one, and then as I go through do you see yourself? Which one do you see yourself? Because at the end of the night, I appreciate if everyone tell me what style they see themselves as their primary or main style, and I want to know what style is your secondary style.
Okay.
And then later on, we're going to talk about what style you think you have a better chance of relationship with. All right. Okay. Now, anxious attachment. Okay. This is when you crave assurance. This is when you crave a lot from your partner. You crave attention. You feel you want to be attached because you think that this person may not be feeling right. This person may not be loving you right. You might have doubt in your heart. I wonder if this person really loves me. You tend to cling. When people cling on you, these are anxious. They're anxious attachment. They're clinging because they know that they can't trust you, or they doubt whether you really love them. So they can't allow you to go away, because you go away, you might go astray. So
You know, they have another name for that. That's called insecure.
yeah, that's what it is. It's anxious. That's what it is. It's anxious. It's anxious attachment. You're right. You're insecure because you have a lot of doubts. You worry. You don't believe that they have. You don't believe that they're true. You don't believe that they love you. You think maybe they plan you for a game. You know, this is the kind of stuff you anxious. You wanna believe that. Hey, look, what's going on? You start overthinking things. You start overthinking. He stayed out later. She stayed out late. Could be she be rendezvousing with somebody, or she going to say she going to the post office. She really going to the post office, or she going to hook up a quickie. These are the things that come to your mind when you're in that anxious style. And the thing about that is, it gives you and your partner both a lot of anxieties. It's a lot of anxieties. That's a hard way to live a life. That's a hard way to love. Okay. Any questions about that before I move on to the next one? Did I explain that one pretty good?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Avoidant attachment. Avoidant attachment. Now, this is when, like I said from the beginning, this is when you treasure your independence. You want to be independent. Yeah, I want a lover. I understand God made us to be a pair. He didn't make me to be alone, but I don't really need anybody in my space all the time. I value you. I love you. But sweetie, we cool. You stay right over there. We good. I love you. I'll call you right now and tell you I love you. Everything's cool, baby. That's because I don't want to be vulnerable. In that stage, you love them, but you treasure your independence more than you want to be vulnerable. I'm not gonna I say boff on you tell you all my faults, all my problems. I'm not that kind of, I'm not gonna do that as a avoidance attachment, because you should know I love you. I love you. Hey, I love you. I don't cheat. I don't run the street with people. I'm always home. You can call me anytime. You pick up the phone 12 o'clock at night, and I'm home in my bed. Ain't nobody there but me. Even if I live by myself, you can see, hey, ain't nobody here. Matter of fact, you can ring the doorbell. I'll let you in. That's an avoidance. But I love you, but I don't need you smothering me.
Right.
I need my independence. Any questions about that? You want to create a safe, but you got to create a safe space for vulnerable. When I want to be vulnerable, I tell you tomorrow at 6 o'clock, I want to be vulnerable. I tell you everything about me, and it's over.
That's a schedule.
Yes. Any questions about? I'm going through them kind of quick because I want to make sure we get all this done tonight.
You're doing a great job. Just keep it moving.
Yeah, we got somebody else in. We got somebody coming on.
Okay. Not
questions about that? Okay. The last one is a little tricky. This last one is a little tricky. This one is a fearful avoidance. Now, this is a difficult one. This is one it's like a ball of confusion. You don't want the person on you. You want to be at a distance, and you want to be close too. It's like a tug of war. You want your independence and you don't want them on you, but then you want to love them to death. You want to smother them. When you're smothering, you want to break free, and when you're by yourself, you want to be smothered. You can't. It's a tug of war going inside you at all times. There's no consistency there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hard person to love, because you don't know how to accept them at times. And you got people like that because you're confused. You don't know whether you want to be smothered or you want your independence.
Okay.
And that's the 4 styles right there. That's the 4 styles. Now, I'll tell you about me. My primary style is secure attachment. I'm comfortable holding your hands. I'm comfortable being with you. I'm comfortable letting the whole world know. I'm comfortable going out, me and you doing things out in public. I show you some affection. That's me. Touchy-feely, that's me. Now, my secondary one is avoidance. I love some independence. I love some independence. I love you. You can stay there for a minute. Let me hear. Give me my space. Let me carve out my space, and we both be fine. So that's me. You want to share yours, Glenda?
Well, actually, mine are the same as yours. I like the secure, I like the secureness of it. And then I like the also the avoidance because I like, when it's time for me to go to work or take care of my personal business or be with my family, if you're not going to be a part of the family gathering, okay, don't blow my phone up. I'm with my family and, that's their time. It's, what do we call it? Respecting my boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can really agree with you on those two because I am a very at this point in my life, I'm very secure in my relationship. If I don't like something, I could tell you I don't like it. If I don't want to be touched there, I can let you know. That don't work. You got to change that up. Go touch somewhere else. I'm very vocal, and I think it did. In all honesty, and I got to go back to what the question I had earlier. Mine didn't come at childhood because I was a very shy child. I didn't speak up. I was very quiet. I took a lot of unnecessary stuff growing up. So I don't see where you get that information that your attachment styles came from childhood because throughout my years of dating, that's where my change came from being secure to avoided.
Brought it up that way because you got to realize when you didn't talk enough, did people always get you to talk, ask you what was wrong?
No,
They never saw
I
about
don't recall that. I didn't recall that. It was like, you tell me something to do, I do it. Or if you tell me something I did wrong, it's like, okay, I try to correct it. I wasn't argumentative or combative as a child. So, and then most of the times I got what I wanted. My grandmother, she knew what I wanted, when I wanted, and I got what I wanted. So, I mean, I guess I was secure as in my youth, but but you're talking about me. I was secure in my relationship with my grandmother, my mom and dad, because I already knew that they was going to do right by me. Well, at least I thought as a child, and I think they did a pretty good job.
and that's where you got your secure attachment from. It came from right there. You just explained it in
Oh,
detail. You
so
just
I just had
explained
to
it.
talk out loud and get
Yeah,
it
yeah, you did
because
it.
I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about
No,
something else.
no, you knew that they were there for you, and you depended on them. You're secure that they loved you. You're secure they for you. You secure they had everything you needed. You were secure that you could communicate how you felt to them, and they would answer appropriately.
Okay, so where did the avoidant come in? It had to come in when I got married, because that's
It
when
could have
all
been.
the grits
It
hit the
could have been.
fan.
It could have been some trauma that you went through that you realized you can see bull. Yeah, I started to say bullshit a mile away. I started to say that. I'm sorry.
What you said? This a PG program?
Yeah, but it could have been where you could see the dumb stuff a mile away, and you stayed clear of it. And you could have been hurt so much that you should, hey, I ain't going through that no more. Every guy that came in front of me has got a bunch of stuff, and I'm just waiting for him to show his real color so I can tell him get to stepping. These are the things that you do. These are the things that your attachment style has developed to.
Okay.
And these are the four styles that you fall in one of those buckets. In one of those buckets you fall in. And notice that as you get older, kids avoid disappointment. That's true. That's true, Andre. That's how you get the avoidance because you don't want to be disappointed. You don't want to be hurt. So a lot of people, and that's the avoidance. That's avoidance attachment style because you don't want to get hurt. So instead of getting hurt, you avoid people and stay over here so I don't have to get hurt. I don't have to deal with that because especially when you get older and growner and you feel that you wear your heart on your sleeve, when you're disappointed, that's a heavy thing to deal with. Some people, if you're a secure attachment style, you get disappointed, you go, okay, let me go find somebody who do want me. But if you're anxious or you're avoidance person, if somebody rejects you, then you down in the dump. You go into depression, you hide out, and all these things because you don't have what it takes to bounce back. You don't have that self-resilience. You can't bounce back.
Okay.
That's what these styles are now. So anybody else want to chime in and say their styles? If you do this, it's good. If you don't, we'll continue to march. Now, this part was understanding the styles. And
Okay.
this is our part one. What's part two, Glenda? Before anybody got anything about understanding the styles before we go into the next part? No questions?
No questions. Okay, the second segment was impact on relationships. How does it impact your relationship?
Okay, now let's talk about how the styles impact your relationship. Now, if you're secure, if your style is secure, like my style is, how would that impact your relationship when going and talking to someone or being with somebody? Let's see. Let's say me and Glenda was talking, and I had a secure attachment style. When I see Glenda, I was talking with Glenda, I'd be wondering like the Luther Vandross. Excuse me, miss. I would feel secure enough to walk to her and have an open communication. I would
Right.
say, excuse me, miss, I saw you from across the room. Hey, I want to know what's your name.
Okay.
I'll feel free talking. I can talk to her and we can have a great conversation. And in that conversation, if something happens after that, great. If it don't, I understand it. Because I'm secure in myself. If she rejects me, or if she I am corny, you're right, Sharon, but I love it though. But if she rejects me, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Because like Luther said, at least she knew how I felt. He said, what Luther said, a chance for romance, at least she knew.
Okay.
So and Luther had a secure Luther in that song, Luther had a secure attachment style.
Okay.
Because I felt secure enough in myself and in my attachment to her that if she refuses and reject me, hey, great. Let me go find somebody that do want what I had to offer. Because I know I'm not for everybody. But now, if I was a second one, if I was anxious,
Mm-hmm.
and I finally get enough nerve to go over there and see and talk to Glenda, I walk over there. Hi, Glenda. And see, right now my feelings hurt. See, right now I'm gonna turn around and walk away and tell my buddies it didn't work.
Good. You sounded real shy and timid, like I'm scared.
Yeah, because I doubt myself and I doubt that she'll talk to me because I see her as a beautiful woman and I see myself as average. And I go over there, first thing in my mind, she's not going to talk to me anyway. And probably my friends boost me into going up there. And I went over there and she started smiling and started laughing at me. So I'm shocked. She didn't like me no way. So I walk away. And that's my attachment style put me in that frame because I doubt that she'll accept me because I don't have the faith in myself.
Okay.
So that's how that worked. Now let's say it's opposite and she saw me and she liked me, but I'm still anxious. I'm an anxious attachment style, and she liked me and she come over and she talked to me, even though I'm wimpy and all that, she still likes me because maybe she liked the underdog. I don't know. So she can go and talk to me. And me and her, if me and her begin to become a pair and we do things, I wouldn't trust her out of my sight. I cling to her because she's beautiful, and I know if somebody else see her, they're gonna take away from me. So I'm gonna hold her down as much as I can.
And she's gonna leave.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna hold her down. But that's what anxious will do.
Okay.
That's what anxious will do. And that's the difference. That's how that dynamic works. That's how that worked. Now let's say I was independent. I was avoidance. Let's say I was avoidance.
Okay.
And let's say I finally get enough nerve. Avoidance, it's not a nerve thing. I was going to talk. I see Glenda, and oh man, she's beautiful. Let me go talk to this young lady. Hey, Glenda, how you doing? What's up, girl? How you doing? And we would talk, and let's say she give me her number, and we hit it off. I would talk to her maybe 3 days later. I'll call her. I wouldn't call her the next day. I wouldn't call her the day after that. I call her 3 days later. I'll call her. Hey, Glenda, you remember me? I'm the guy you met at the club the other night. Hey, yeah, Rufus. Hey, how you doing? Hey, look, I was thinking, what are you doing this weekend? Let's get together this weekend, and we can really sit down and talk for some tea or coffee or whatever like that. And we go out and we talk, and it's a nice conversation. We hit it off. I'm still never gonna let her get but so close.
Okay.
Let's say we start talking and she likes me. she likes me and she sees something in me and she likes me and I got that. I'm never gonna let her get so close. She's really gonna have to chase me a little bit because I'm gonna kind of stay offish. It's gonna take the relationship a long time to develop. It's not gonna be a quick whirlwind romance.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna take time. It's gonna be one of them takes time to know her kind of deal.
Okay.
It's not gonna happen quick because I think if it happened quick, she gonna smother me in hay and I'll be doing all kind of stupid stuff, trying to be in love. That's and it's not me talking. This is the avoidance part now. And those are the things. So I'm gonna keep a distance. Now I still want to pursue her, and I still want her to want me, but I'm gonna keep a distance there. I'm never gonna give my all I'll give my all, but I'm never gonna show it to where she think I'm vulnerable or she think I'm weak. I'm always gonna be tough and strong and have a wall out in front. And that's the way it's gonna be.
Okay.
Now, any questions about any of these styles before I go into the last one?
Well, with with the one that you just spoke on, you could be sabotaging your relationship or a future relationship.
And you're correct. And that's why in that communication is key. You have to communicate. And in these things, and as we go further, I'm gonna tell you, there's a rule, what they call all these others is called insecure attachment styles. And what you're supposed to do, and what we ask you to do is to work at becoming secure, work at becoming a secure attachment style. And if you put in the work, you can get to a secure attachment style. And we'll talk more. That's a part we'll talk about that a little further in the conversation. But the last one is a fearful avoidance attachment. Fearful avoidance is you don't know what you really want. You don't know if you want to be close, if you want to be far, you don't want to be independent, you want to be clinging. You really don't know what you want. But you're torn between the two.
Okay.
There's times when you want to be by yourself, and there's times you want to be tied up with your boo. And the sad thing about it is you the one that kind of control it. It's not something you and your boo control, you control it. So it makes it very hard for somebody to love you because that's right, lukewarm, you're correct, Glenn. You're right, it's lukewarm. It's kind of hard for somebody to love you because they have to kind of juggle. They got to kind of figure it out. They got to figure that tug of war out, which is hard for somebody to do.
It is.
So they got to take pretty much what you give them. You got almost like got to be spoon fed because they don't know how to handle that. Yep, seesaw, you're correct. And that's one of the most difficult ones to love because you don't know. You're going minute by minute by minute. You know, when they fuss you off for being too close, then you pull up way, then they fuss you off for being too far. They think hey, you don't love me no more, you way you don't love me no more. That's bipolar correct. Those are the type of things that you deal with. And that's unhealthy. And that's a style you have to try to come away from there.
Right.
In all of these styles, you got to have boundaries and communication and trust. That's the key. Boundaries, trust, communication. Anybody want to share which one they are before we go any further? Anybody want to talk about their styles? Okay.
We're at the halfway mark, Mr.
Okay, we're at the halfway mark. Okay. Now, let's talk about how it deals with Black ladies, with Black women. Now, the reason why these styles came up, why we separate out Black women, because Black women are stereotyped in society. Okay. For some reason, most people see Black women as being avoidance. The society see them as people, individuals that want their independence, and they much rather be hard independent than being vulnerable. And Glenda, you're doing them lips, but you for sure, you for sure, Glenda. You much rather, from what I know about you, Glenda, what I've seen about you, Glenda, since we've been on these podcasts, you much rather be independent than vulnerable.
I'm gonna get you after we disconnect the call. That means we've been friends for too long.
Oh, I'm talking on the call. I noticed that on the call because when you comment, I tell. But am I wrong with it? Have I is that hitting you right upside the head with that? Am I telling the truth?
Keep talking, Mr. Carpenter. Keep going through your points.
but that's because that's where most people see Black women. They see Black women as being strong, and they think Black women want to be resilient and want to be independent versus vulnerable. Because so a lot of Black women are in charge of households. The single family households are run by a lot of strong Black women, and they feel they have to be strong.
Mr. Carpenter, I just gotta kind of chime in a little bit. I think when you talk about Black women being avoided, I'm thinking the reason why women feel that way or they act that way is because they've been disappointed so often by the Black male. So they have to always take charge and be the head of the household because so many of their relationships have failed where the man was supposed to do and they didn't do. They always came up short. So if I think that my mortgage is not going to get paid, that means I have to go a little above and beyond to make sure I keep that roof over my head. I mean, because if Boo is gambling or going to the casino and he wastes $500, you talking about not, don't give him lunch money for 2 weeks. Don't give him lunch money for the rest of the month. That was a good example early on, but you got to think about it. Women have been so accustomed to being the head of the household because men have always fallen short, even with your own personal, when you do your introduction about your mother and your father and the 14 siblings.
And you're correct. And you're correct. And when you talk about mother and father, you're talking about going back that far. Society has put us in that and that's a different subject. That's not the subject for tonight because we talk about that subject, we'll be here forever. Because society has put the onus on the Black woman to be head of the household. Because the Black male has been systematically trodden down, not by the Black female, but by white society. White supremacy have declared war on the Black male. And that's not part of the conversation for tonight. But let's deal with just what you said in that. Right. And a lot of Black ladies and Black women have realized they can only count on themselves. Because when your back is against the wall and the only person you have to look for is yourself, you're right. You're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. But the problem is society has taken that across the board and say all Black women are like that. That's the problem. And we know all you're not like that. We know that. But society has picked that as our culture that typically Black women are strong, Black women are forceful, Black women have that avoidance type attachment to them, that they don't want to be vulnerable.
I would like to say something.
Who's that?
Yeah, this is Annette.
Go ahead, Annette.
How are you all tonight?
Doing well. Thanks for coming in.
All right. Good. I would like to say something. In this, I feel like you can't. This is a situation where you can't say, and this is talking Black women, you can't accept what society say in this point, because I feel like this is an individualized reaction or whatever, because I think this is like each woman, you can have 5 women in a room, and each 5 women are themselves could be totally different from each other. Now, we might have something that we do alike, but we do so much other things, and our characteristics would be different. So when we attach to a mate, we each 5 could attach to that mate so differently. So we can't be judged alike in this situation. We have to be in this situation independent. You have to look at us independent as a person, and that male as well. Now, how does that male come across? Did he come across like the gang, or do he come across as himself, individualized? So it's a difference in the way you look at this situation for me.
I'm glad you said that, Annette, because most of the Black women are raising our Black babies. The Black women are more in charge of our Black babies than the Black men are right now. So our black babies are learning how to love based on you. So when you
That's
say that, you got to realize something, that next generation, you're cradling them right now. You're raising them. So
well,
this, go ahead. Go ahead, Annette.
well, I could say something. I have seen black men that are mothers, that is a mother and a father as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen them doing some hell of a jobs that I couldn't really do, because they put in a lot of time too. We don't give them the credit because they actually do a good job as well. It seemed like to me, I find that the black man is a lot more sensitive than the black woman. And I think they do a lot of things based on sensitivity and feeling. In my mind, a black woman do things based on, hey, necessity, what has to be done, what I gotta do, this gotta happen. What does it take to make this happen? But I find that the black men tend to do it on the basis of, how does this feel? How does it look? You are right with this? They seem to have more care for something, I think. I'm done.
And see, you clearly explain how people see society, because you're right. Black women do the essentials. Were you gonna say something? Somebody heard somebody's voice would say something else.
Yeah, this is me, Sharon.
Okay.
I want to piggyback a little bit on what Annette was saying. Like, Rufus, you keep saying society look at it like this and society look at it like that. I don't really think, as far as a black woman being considered real strong natured now, I don't put it, society is doing it. I basically think it's the black man being insecure and not standing up or not doing what they're supposed to do, which they are afraid, and and they get blamed it on society. Did I say that right?
That could be true. That could be true. That could be true.
That's
That's
what
what I'm looking at.
you understood what I said.
I understood very well what you're saying. That could be true, because some, if I'm not all I need to be as a black man, I'm not gonna put the blame on me. I'm gonna put the blame on
Right.
somebody. So what you're saying may have some truth in it, Sharon. May have some truth in it. But when you talk about attachment styles really affect how you love and who loves you. Now, let's turn the corner a little bit. Let's turn the corner knowing what your attachment style is. What attachment style are you looking for? For instance, I'm a secure. My primary is secure. I'm a secure attachment style. That's who I am. I even had a test to confirm that, by the way. I took a test to confirm it. But that's who I am. But now that I would do well with another secure attachment style, and I could probably do well with avoidance style.
You
Okay.
need avoidance style.
Well, you gonna say something else, Sharon? Because I saw your light up.
Yes, I would.
Go ahead.
Sharon, you can talk.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Now I
Oh,
can.
okay. Oh, okay. Number one, was that the one that was saying about the casino? You know, it's a type of relationship where
Yes.
you talk to your partner, you're not afraid to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the one I like.
So that's I'm not supposed to ask you a question, Sharon, but have you decided what style what style you are in your individual style?
Yeah, number one.
Okay, that's secure. So you secure showing your love and letting your boo know you love them, and being effective, being effective. I can't say the word, but being yourself out in public, being
Yes,
effective out in public.
yes,
That's
but I'm
good.
also secure enough to say how I feel if I'm angry too.
Yeah, that's the other side of it. Now, what's your secondary? You figured out your secondary?
What was it about again? You know,
The secondary styles were what's next. You got your primary is the secure. That means you're secure in showing who you are and loving, and you can hold hands, you can kiss out in public. And the next one is avoidance. That you love your independence more than you want to be booed up, or more than you want to be smothered by somebody.
Exactly. That's fine. I
That's
love
your
my
second.
independence more.
Okay, got you two. All right, so that's two. Now, Now, Glenda, what styles are you more comfortable with, Glenda?
I would be more comfortable with, I would say, the secure attachment.
Secure attachment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What would be your secondary style you would want to?
Oh, let's see. I would say, oh, I wouldn't mind as the secondary to be the fearful avoidant.
Fearful avoidant.
And to be, yeah, because when you first meet somebody, I do want them to, walk on eggshells, on some things. I want them to be a little standoffish and a little fearful because, I'm a totally different beast. Don't come at me any kind of way. I mean, you can still be upfront and tell me the truth, in a calm manner, but I still want you to have a little bit of fear and avoidance as well. Because I'm not a big smotherer. I don't want someone always up under me, and I don't want them to always be up under me either.
Mm-hmm. All right. That's good. That's good. That's good. Now, any other things about the black ladies, black woman's love, the particular way that she attaches herself and her attachment styles? No questions about that? Oh, this is a good one. Okay. All right, let's move into the conclusion then of the night.
Okay.
And then after I'm gonna ask some questions, I got some questions I'm gonna ask the audience. But okay, so now understanding your style is not just for romantic purposes. Understanding your styles are something to help you at life. Because if you're not the style that you want to be, you need to start working at it. And if you do the work, you can change your style. You can actually change your style, but you have to do the work. If you don't do the work, it's hard to change because you can always get what you always got. But if you change, you can change it. And the goal is to be more secure, be more of a secure style. Because with the secure style, you can be yourself. You can be genuine. You can be your authentic self. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to worry. You don't have to stress. Because the way you attack somebody determines whether you're going to have problems down the road a little bit. Because if you're a clinger, if you cling on somebody and they're somebody that has an avoidance style, you guys aren't going to match. It's not going to happen. You guys are going to have trouble every turn. So you got to start figuring this stuff out so you can change. Now, I'm supposed to tell you that if you have the fearful avoidance attachment style, that's the style where you don't know whether it will be close or be far away. If you don't want to be smothered or want to be avoidant, that style you're supposed to get help. You're supposed to see if you can get help from a counselor, professional counselor, or psychiatrist, or a therapist, because that's not a healthy lifestyle for anybody. So as a relationship counselor, I'm supposed to tell you, you're supposed to seek help for that style.
Even if it's a secondary?
Even if it's your secondary, you're supposed to seek help. You're supposed to be able to change it. Okay. That's what I'm supposed to tell you that as a coach. I'm supposed to tell you seek help, professional help. Now, here's some questions. Let's open up the floor. Now, floor, here's a question for you. Dun, 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 dun. Matter of fact, I got another sheet. I got a special sheet for that one. Let me pull out my sheet. Let me pull out my sheets here. Okay, let's talk about the first one. Okay. Have you ever felt like you're consistently seeking assurance in your relationship? Have you always sought assurance in your relationship?
You said always?
Yeah, have you always sought assurance in your relationship? Are you someone that always wanted to make sure they love me? I want to know, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? You ain't said you love me. I ain't never heard you say you love me. Do you love me?
No.
If that was the case, if somebody said that, what style would they be? If they always said, let's say if you might have that. If we role play right now.
Anxious.
Yep, that's anxious. Who's speaking?
Fear. Jamisha said fearless. What you say? Say it, Jamisha.
Fearful?
Yeah, fearful. That's what Jamisha.
Yeah, that's fearful. That's fearful. But the fearful is the way you feel, but it's the actual anxious attachment because you're fearful that they don't love you and you're doubting them all the time. You don't trust them. So you're correct. You're correct. That's great. You're correct there. Now let's question number 2. Okay, do you feel yourself pulling away when you start to get serious, when the relationship start to get serious and you feel yourself pulling away? What style could this be linked to? If when it started getting serious and you pull away?
That could be avoidance or the fearful avoidance.
Correct. You're right. And that style, because you kind of say, oh, wait a minute here. It's going a little faster than I wanted to go. Oh, wait, this person might have the claws in me.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. You're 100% correct. Great job on that one. Let's see number third one. Do you think your upbringing has influenced your approach and relationship styles today, especially when you consider cultural factors? Do you feel your childhood has?
I guess from what you told me earlier, yes.
Yes, you're the Hallmark sister for that. You got the T-shirt.
Okay.
Yes. How your parents interact with you, they made you feel secure or they made you feel unsecure. And if you was like in a foster home and it didn't love you, you never had enough milk, you never had enough food, and all those things, you'll be fearful. So it really works. Believe it or not, once you start really thinking about it, you can actually go back and trace it and see what shaped you. And like Glenda said earlier, some of this stuff happened when you got old and you kept getting the same knuckleheads. So you start noticing those things. All right, next one. Can you share experience where you understand attachment styles could help you navigate your relationships and challenges more effective? Question is, can you tell of a time when knowing your attachment style, that it can really affect and help you negotiate your love life and relationships?
Are you talking about going forward?
Going forward.
Absolutely.
How? Can somebody explain it to me?
Because you know what to look, you now you know what to look for. You could pay attention to the signs, the conversation, the individual always wanting to be around you. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes,
Okay.
you're right. You're right, because when they clingy, then you know they don't trust you. You know what their problems are. They are anxious. That it's not you, it's them.
Right.
You know how you break up with somebody, baby, it's not you, it's me. No, it's them. It's them.
Yes, I know
really
that one
them.
very well.
Yeah, it's really them. Okay, now, let's see. What steps can Black women take to foster a secure attachment style in culture that often celebrates independence? What steps can Black women take to foster a secure attachment style in a culture that often celebrates independence?
Balance.
That's the perfect answer. Darren, you got this. You must have had this before.
Because you got Black women on the
No.
call.
Hey, not at all.
That's the answer. Balance. You're right. Black women in culture that taking small steps and building trust and connection can really foster balance. That's a secure self. You're right. Balance. Awesome. And here's another Black woman question. How do societal perceptions of Black women influence their attachment styles and relationship dynamics? How does societal perceptions of Black women influence their attachment styles and relationship dynamics? Anybody got that one?
Read that again, please.
How do societal, I can't even say the word now. How does societal perceptions of Black women influence their attachment styles and relationship dynamics? Okay, society perceptions of Black women can put some serious pressure on attachment styles and how they handle relationships. It's a real eye opener, because like Annette said, it's not society, you got to deal with it individually. And society now has labeled all Black women in a bucket. They put all Black women in a bucket. All you guys are angry Black women, and you guys are independent. And that's what society has done. But like Annette said, that's not the case. You got to deal with them individually.
Right.
And that's true. You have to deal with them individually. And that's only if you get to know Black women. And everybody on this call, I think, is Black. So we get to know each other and we get in our relationships. Okay? All right, now, okay. In what ways can partners support each other understanding and adopting their attachment styles for a healthy relationship. In what ways can partners support each other in understanding and adopting their attachment styles for a relationship? How can you guys support each other? If you know your style and you know your partner's style, how can you guys support yourself in doing that?
I see an example, like say if you're number one, you're secure.
Mhm.
And then you get involved with somebody that you really want, and then you start changing, being that anxious one. So that's kind of like negatively changing because of somebody else. Then you try to work it and try to almost like make it work, and it doesn't. Say if you with one of those fearful avoidance. So it's not good for you to change your secure one, becoming anxious to make it work. So I can see that being kind of negative and not a good thing. That's not a way to go. Don't go backward. If anything, if you were anxious, get secure. So where that fearful avoidance or that avoidance wouldn't have that kind of effect or that kind of influence over you.
Right. And that's when you say the empathy and the communication is really, really comes into play. You have that empathy and communication that really comes into play. What are some things, what are some of the takeaways tonight? If I had to ask you guys, what are some of the takeaways? What are some of the things you came away from this that you didn't know from before? Anybody got any takeaways they want to share? That anything they didn't know for the first time tonight or noticed for the first time or have some aha moments in this conversation?
The aha moment for myself was knowing my attachment style.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you wear yours well because yours is obvious. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing because you have confidence in yourself. You know who you are. And a lot of people don't know who they are. A lot of people, it's a mystery. When they see themselves in the mirror, they don't know who that man or that woman is.
Right.
So when you look in the mirror, you know who you are, and you know whose you are and who you are. It makes all the difference in the world. All right.
Right. I did want to say, Mr. Carpenter, because I know we are approaching the last 4 minutes, but the handout for tonight is in the chat, as well as we really want you guys to join our Facebook community. And when you go and, log into Facebook, you put Glenda Driver in and you will see our Reset to Healthier Relationships logo. We really want to make sure you guys stay up to date and current with everything that we have going on, send us messages. We want to know what's going on with you as well, because we're trying to build a Facebook community where, we can all help one another.
Yes, and go ahead. Somebody say something. Go ahead, Sharon.
Just Sharon.
Well, I did, but it wasn't really important. It was just answering Rufus' questions about what do we take from tonight's message or whatever.
Please share. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was informational because I know myself, but now it gives me a way to look at whoever my partner is going to be, how they may be feeling, being able to understand their ways better by knowing the proper meaning or definitions of, the stuff you said.
And that's why we put a lot of this in the handout, because we wanted you to know it. So that way, if this wasn't the right form for you to get that information, the handout has a lot of it in the handout. And then we're going to circle back and we'll have a little bit more other resources for this, because this right here really is the standard and the blueprint of the relationship. This part right here, your attachment style really determines how you love and who can love you the right way. All right, it's been fun. We enjoyed you. Thanks for being a part of tonight's group. We really appreciate having you on. You're making a difference. We're turning the corner on this, that we have a lot of things for you to come up. We've got some very exciting things going to happen next week, and we'll share that with you next week. So until then, we appreciate you guys. Good night, everybody. You want to say anything, Glenda, before we cut off?
No, thank you for attending. We really appreciate it.
All right, see you guys next week. Hey, it's been fun. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night. Good night.